red meat and high-quality sources of protein should be what your diet is built around.
I hate how limiting some of these diets are.
Yeah, they're insane. And, it's because it just attracts a lot of people. The answer is to eat real food. We know the answer. There's a species-appropriate diet. You can make little tweaks. Human beings can thrive off a lot of different things. It's a simple answer.
All right, guys, finally made it happen. We got Brendan from Santa Cruz Medicals here today.
Sir.
We got the electrolytes in here.
Yeah, we're sipping on the electrolytes. Which flavor did you grab?
I got dragon fruit, and it tastes amazing, man.
Dude, that's
dissolved really easily.
That's our best seller. I'm sending like pallets to Amazon at this point.
Dude.
Yeah.
So Amazon's crushing it for you?
Amazon is crushing it. Yeah,
Wow.
I just, people love Amazon Prime. They just love it.
So easy.
One day, like when I get comments like I ordered your electrolytes and I got them the next day, I love that.
Dude, sometimes like hours.
Oh, hours.
I live
yeah.
right next to one, so
Yeah,
it's like 8
same
hours.
day delivery. Nothing's like it. So.
Nuts. So how does this differentiate from like Zip Fizz from the other electrolyte drinks?
Yeah, so the big thing with electrolytes is you're losing sodium and potassium at about a 3.5 milligram to 1 milligram ratio. We in this country have scared people about salt intake. I'm sure you've heard it. Limit your salt intake. Oh,
Right.
when people say they're trying to get healthy, they're trying to reduce their amount of sodium. That's not really right for people who are athletic. And have you heard about the study that they did on the Philadelphia Eagles?
No.
Okay, so during training camp with the Eagles, they attached these like devices to them and monitored their sweat loss to figure out what they were actually losing in their sweat. Now, given this was like, a hard training session, this was outdoors, they're probably sweating a lot, and these are some big boys. They were losing 3 on the low side to 30 grams of sodium. That's a lot.
Wow.
You're losing, and there's other studies that show an average workout, hard workout, for athletes, 7 to 8 grams loss in an hour training session. With that said, the government tells you to only eat 2.2 grams of sodium per day. You play basketball, you're saying, so like you're a big dude, you're probably losing multiple grams of sodium.
Crazy.
So replacing that with the right ratio, because that's what you really want is this ratio of electrolytes. It's not just like you need one electrolyte, there's a bunch. That's what we have in there. The right ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, the right forms, no artificial sweeteners, no man. Like Liquid IV, everyone's heard of Liquid IV.
Yep.
They got bought by Unilever, and now it's just cane sugar, not enough sodium, poor forms of magnesium. It's just stupid.
Good marketing, though.
Really good marketing. Yeah, and they're tasty. Like when people
They
just
are
drink
tasty.
sugar water, which is, a lot of Americans just like to drink processed sugar.
Right.
And now it's just being repackaged by Liquid IV as something that's healthy, yet it still just feeds into that craving people have for sugar. I'd prefer to get that through fruit, honey, maple syrup, stuff like that. But that's what they do, and yeah, they are crushing it.
That's so nuts, because I used to purposely avoid salt as a kid because they were taught they taught us it was terrible for you.
Yeah, it's insane. And, I got my degree in anthropology, and, like, there were wars fought over salt. Salt is just, like, embedded in the history of Homo sapiens. Like, without salt, we die. And salt regulates hormones like aldosterone, which you ever, like, gone to the gym and just gotten, like, that headache kind of nausea feeling? So, like, one of the most common things with salt-based electrolytes, which you hear, is that people now go to the gym and they don't get that headache. They don't get that nausea when they're lifting. And a lot of that's because of that hormone aldosterone, which is regulated by sodium and potassium mainly. And some electrolytes just don't have any salt because they don't want to scare people.
Another big thing they pushed was milk growing up. And that's terrible for you, right?
I disagree with that.
Oh, really?
I don't think milk is terrible for you.
What about the pasteurized one?
So there's this whole thing about raw milk lately. And I am a raw milk drinker.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, besides the taste and probiotics from raw dairy, there isn't much data out there that shows that pasteurized dairy is worse or contains less nutrients than raw milk. And I've been to a raw milk farm. I'm a huge fan of it. The fact that our tax dollars are spent going after raw milk farms is insane.
Right.
I personally don't want my tax dollars being spent busting an Amish farm because of raw milk.
There was a big one recently.
Yeah, and when I see that, it's like, okay, I understand this food can get people sick, but there was an influencer couple who the woman died from eating oysters recently, like last week. There were people in Montana last year that died eating sushi. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna ban sushi, oysters? Like, I think raw milk, they should slap a warning on it because it can cause foodborne illness, just like other foods.
Right.
I do like drinking it because of the taste, and I've been to some of the farms. But overall, dairy is a really good source of calcium, a really good source of vitamin A. Human beings have been drinking it for a long time, and I think if you tolerate it, it is something you should consume.
That's an interesting take. Now, does the type of dairy matter to you?
So for some people, there's going to be A2 dairy, which is going to be a different form of the casein protein, and for some people, they can find that more tolerable. Now, people say with raw milk, this is another thing. They say, oh, it contains the lactase enzyme, which helps digest lactose. It's not necessarily true. Again, huge fan of raw milk. it doesn't contain that enzyme. And
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/DSH and get on your way to becoming your best self. My fiance Ariel plays a big role in my mental health, helping me realize my true potential. Everyone's trying their best around you, so take time to appreciate someone close to you. I've tried therapy in the past, and it helped me go through some tough times when I was in college dealing with mental health. I was on prescription medication. I actually had agoraphobia when I was in college, and therapy helped me figure out some answers to how to fix that problem. For 2 months, I couldn't even leave my house, or I would have a full-on panic attack. So I love companies like BetterHelp that can get therapy in front of the masses. But therapy definitely helped me get better, and I definitely appreciate companies like BetterHelp because it's completely online and it's conveniently suited to fit your schedule and accommodate life surprises. Fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a licensed therapist today with the freedom to switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Visit betterhelp.com/DSH to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DSH. Check them out now.
any significant amount. What people can actually do if I fixed my dairy intolerance. So I had a slight intolerance to dairy, and what I did is I actually took digestive enzymes, lactase enzymes, you can find them at Whole Foods, lactose digest enzymes, and I would drink small amounts of stuff like kefir and just eat yogurt to start out, stuff that's low in that lactose. And I'm taking the lactase enzyme, which digests lactose. And so I took that for weeks while consuming small amounts of dairy, and then I just sort of leveled it up as I tapered the enzyme down. And now, dude, I can chug dairy totally fine. Yeah.
Because a lot of people have that intolerance now, right?
A lot of people.
And it goes up every single year.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, more and more food allergies. I think a lot of that just comes from gut dysbiosis, leaky gut, from all the we eat.
Right. Gut issues are all. I had constipation for years, dude.
Yeah, many people do.
Yeah. And I just got normalized to it. But once I fixed that, holy night and day difference.
Yeah, man, I think, like with your health journey, I was listening to you talk about how, man, you went through issues with anxiety.
Yeah.
You've been pretty open about how you were prescribed Xanax and like you were given that and you fell into that kind of the system, dude. Like this is what I'm trying to fight with like my channel. I just had these video game streamers out. I'm doing this show called Locked In where I get streamers out or just people that are unhealthy. And it's insane what some of these young kids are on. 3 or 4, pharmaceutical interventions that they're on.
Jeez.
It's a problem. I think we're going to look back on this much like we look back on smoking, where I'm not like, oh, nobody ever needs that stuff. It can be useful, right? The fact that any of us right now can go and sit down with a psychiatrist for 5-10 minutes and be prescribed one of these things without them checking your vitamin D levels, without them even talking to you sometimes about sleep, exercise, not running a nutrient panel. Now we know you can actually run tests to see how, like your neurotransmitters, organic acids tests, GI map, hormones. Is that person's testosterone insanely low? Do they have low vitamin D? Well, maybe we should know that before prescribing them something like Xanax. It's very frustrating.
Right. My vitamin D was 21
Insane.
last year.
Yeah.
That's super low, right?
Yeah, super low. Yeah, and like the traditional recommendation is to be around 50, but I have a functional medicine doctor who says you should be around 60 to 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my T was pretty low.
Yep.
And that's common these days for men.
Very common.
But I heard D is like, 90% deficient in people right now?
Yeah, and like we make a vitamin D, and it's one of our best-selling products, and I think it's just for the simple reason that people are realizing, man, like the body is made up of tons of vitamins, minerals, neurotransmitters, your gut microbiome, all this stuff, right? And when you have a deficiency, you're just lacking, and it's not hard to fix. Vitamin D is extremely affordable.
Right.
Pennies for a capsule. So more and more people, I think, are waking up to this and going, wait, I can go like this and feel better? It's pretty simple.
Yeah. I want to go through some of your videos because they're very interesting. You said shampoo is a scam?
Yes, shampoo is largely a scam. Yeah.
How so?
Yeah, so we can get into a lot of stuff with personal care products. So when I was getting my degree in anthropology, I'm sitting in a class and I have a face full of acne. My hair is dry, and some of the classes are about medical anthropology. So looking at anthropologists and different tribes that anthropologists have gone and lived with sometimes or just conducted research on. There's a couple of things that really astonished me. First, we'll talk about acne and skincare in general. There's this anthropologist, Dr. Stefan Lindbergh, and he went and lived with the people in the Catawba Island. And what he noticed was no acne whatsoever. Not in the teenagers, not in the young adults, no acne.
Wow.
He recorded in his thing, not a single pimple, pustule, nothing. Okay, and he examined over 1,200 people there.
Damn.
Yeah, and their diet was a traditional diet, meat, fruit, vegetables, a lot of sweet potatoes, stuff like that. No processed food whatsoever. And we see this over and over again. You can see images of the Maasai people. You can see images of people in the Amazon. Beautiful hair, beautiful skin. And now, in today's society, we're told, hey, to have good skin, your skin is dirty. You need to go to Sephora. You need a whole $600 routine, and I had way worse skin when I was spending money on skincare. All I use now is beef tallow, and I have a shower filter because we chlorinate our water.
Yeah.
And skin health comes from within. There's the gut-skin axis. You can look this up. This is well known. Your hormones, immune function, gut function, your thyroid, all these things regulate your skin health.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And same goes for
tallow on your face?
just beef tallow.
Damn.
And this is catching on. It's becoming viral now. It's the original skincare.
Yeah.
It's just moisturizer that's non-comedogenic, super rich in various vitamins, and it's amazing.
Man, they've marketed lotion so well.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is in a lot of these lotions, when you look at the back, you'll see this ingredient, stearic acid, which a lot of holistic health people get like, oh, what the hell is stearic acid? Stearic acid is a fatty acid that is very prevalent in beef tallow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so these companies know this stuff, and they're using some of the compounds from animal fat moisturizers, but they're just packaging it to, smell good and,
Damn.
artificial fragrance in there. It's
Putting any urine on your face?
I'm not into the urine therapy. No, I know you've had some people on that are into that. That's not my game.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level, right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother level for sure.
You made a video, Truth About Red Meat.
Yeah.
That's a controversial one, right?
Yeah, I think red meat's one of the most controversial things for some reason. It baffles me as somebody who's studied where we come from and our ancestors. First of all, what I have to say to everybody is your ancestors ate red meat. They hunted big game. They relied on bone marrow. They relied on organs. And I'm not one of these people eating raw liver with my hands outside. Well, sometimes I've done it for fun, but I'm not like promoting that. We love red meat. It's deep within us to love red meat. Now, people say, well, I saw a headline saying red meat causes cancer or red meat clogs your arteries.
I saw that one.
Those studies are done by surveying a bunch of people. Okay, so they're going to go survey 500,000 people in the United States, and they're going to say, do you eat red meat? They're going to go, yes, I eat red meat. Where's that red meat coming from? Are they eating grass-fed steaks and working out like you and I are?
Yeah.
No, they're eating McDonald's, they're eating processed food. Then they follow those people for a little bit, and they say, oh, the group that ate red meat had a slightly higher cancer rate. Red meat causes cancer. It's insane.
That's nuts.
It's insanity. Yeah, and like we are designed as omnivores. I've seen you have a lot of people on the podcast that are either fruitarians or they only eat raw food, or you have everybody on.
Yeah.
The fact is we are omnivores. Our intestinal tract, the length of our intestinal tract is right between an herbivore and a carnivore. We have a high stomach acidity, not insanely high as much as pure carnivores, but pretty close. We are designed to eat a variety of foods, and that is what I promote on my page and through everything I say is eat a variety of good foods, but red meat and high quality sources of protein should be what your diet is built around.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate how limiting some of these diets are.
Yeah, they're insane. And, it's because it just attracts a lot of people.
Right.
When they say, oh, this only eat this, I have the answer. No, the answer is to eat real food. We know the answer. There's a species-appropriate diet. You can make little tweaks. Human beings can thrive off a lot of different things. It's a simple answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you had some beef with Paul Saladino, right?
Yeah, I got a little beef about the plant defense chemical thing for sure.
Right. What was that about?
Well, he says to avoid vegetables and greens because of plant defense chemicals. Beans too, potatoes he even avoids. I just cannot see that being a rational piece of advice for a large population at all. First of all, we have always consumed plants. And yes, while there are plant defense chemicals, a lot of these are rendered to almost nothing. Oxalates is something he talks about a lot. When you cook potatoes properly, beans properly, even greens properly, the amount of oxalates in there is going to be so little that a cup of strawberries oftentimes, or raspberries, which is something he promotes, will have more oxalic acid in there.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, you're telling people to avoid oxalates, but you say to eat fruit. Well, there's other plant foods that'll have less oxalic acid in there. The interesting part of this is when people get into the raw greens, juicing spinach and just eating as raw broccoli and stuff, that actually, that can have issues with oxalic acid, but any traditional tribe, they're cooking their potatoes, their beans, they're properly, fermenting them often, preparing them. We knew this as Homo sapiens, that there are plant defense chemicals and various traditional cooking methods can reduce those.
Where do you stand on this organic debate? Do you think it's worth paying extra for organic stuff?
I do think it's worth paying extra if you can afford it because of glyphosate. We don't know too much about glyphosate right now. We see in studies the occupational exposure, so people that actually have to spray this stuff, they have way higher cancer rates and stuff like that. Now, the proponents of glyphosate would probably say, well, what you're going to consume is so little, we've done the studies, it's not going to cause cancer. I'm very skeptical about glyphosate's effects on our health. I think we will find that it negatively affects our gut microbiome. It's basically an antibiotic. okay, that they're going to spray on stuff. It's going to help kill living organisms. I don't think we're going to find that's good for gut health. So I try to buy organic when I can. What I've realized through my content, because like I used to be broke. I used to work at Papa John's. I went through college, you know what I mean? Like you can't just buy organic all the time. And some of those things are sprayed with organic pesticides. So what I tell people is if you can, get some frozen berries at the store that are organic and do everything else non-organic, you know,
Right.
save
Those
money.
berries are expensive if you don't buy them frozen.
Crazy, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I'm all frozen berries now because like berries will go bad quick and the organic ones were like $8.99 for a little thing. It's insane.
Yeah, it is. You also had a seed oil debate with Dr. Ids. That was interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, the seed oil debate.
Yeah, I didn't see many people defending seed oils, but he actually did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so seed oils is definitely one of the most controversial topics right now ever. Seed oils didn't exist in the world, and people weren't consuming them until about the 1950s. Before then, people have consumed ghee, which is butter, basically, grass-fed butter, coconut oil, beef tallow, olive oil, and olive oil is not a seed; it's a fruit. So in comes these seed oils, okay, because they are cheap. They're made from the seeds of oftentimes the rapeseed plant, which is canola oil, crazy name. And they didn't want to call it rapeseed, so a lot of it's made in Canada, so they made canola oil. That's where that comes from.
Wow.
Soybean oil, corn oil. Now, I am a hater on seed oils, but what I will say is I'll sometimes eat them. I'll go to Chipotle, they use seed oils. Okay, it is what it is. I'm not somebody that thinks a little bit of seed oil is going to throw off your whole diet. Now, to say that there is no concern about seed oils is crazy. There is a researcher out of Japan named Tetsumori Yamashima, and he's published a lot of research on how he believes, he's a neurosurgeon, by the way, neurobiologist, very intelligent dude, and his papers are about how seed oils can cause Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And he's really worried about it. So to say, oh, nobody's concerned about this is just crazy. They're a heavily processed food. If you're somebody who's trying to eat less highly processed food, then you would want to eat less seed oils. Also, we've gotten to a point where most Americans are eating 5 tablespoons of highly processed seed oils in their diet.
Jeez.
So I don't think that's a good change. It hasn't boded well with just our health overall. But I'm not somebody who is telling people, eliminate seed oils from your diet 100%. It's just really difficult to do in today's world.
Super difficult. I was surprised when Lane Norton defended it too, actually.
Yeah, well, so the proponents say this. Seed oils have been shown to reduce LDL cholesterol. Saturated fat does increase your cholesterol. This is what they've shown. And people are saying, well, if you have high cholesterol, you are at risk of dropping dead of a heart attack. So thus, replacing the saturated fat, which is the other option basically, with seed oils is a positive because your LDL is going to go down. I think that topic is still up for debate, I think would be a fair thing to say. And just from where I come from, studying anthropology, studying how human beings have lived, seeing tribes that have thriving health, this myth that we all died at age 30 is completely wrong. Ask any anthropologist. It's just not true.
Really?
100%. No, our ancestors lived long lives if they made it past early age.
Wow.
100%. So Western medicine has come in and helped us a lot. If you get a cut and you get an infection, if you break a bone back then, you could die. Right. Western medicine's amazing for that. But to say all of our ancestors just passed away at the age of 30, that's not true. When you factor in infant mortality, if they lived past a certain age, they would often live to 60, 70, 80 years old.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What also interests me about that time period is they had no cavities.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Weston Price's research, I think is what you're referring to. Yeah. The jaw structure, the teeth. There's, nutrients help all parts of our body, and these people were getting good nutrition.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. I went to the dentist last week. I had 7 cavities, and I'm pretty healthy. Like, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
it is. It's insane.
I don't eat like fake sugar.
Yeah. When did you start getting like healthy? Was it sort of around that time?
I would say 2 years ago. The podcast helped a ton with that.
Yeah, just having people on that are interested in health.
I went fully holistic. Yeah.
Yeah, then like you're just like you need to be dialed in.
Yeah.
You're having people on the podcast like boom, boom, boom. You want your brain to function properly, and you probably realize how like what you eat affects that.
Oh yeah. Speaking of brain, I got a brain scan. Have you done that yet?
I've done pre-nuvo. I haven't done a brain scan.
Ooh, how was pre-nuvo?
Pre-nuvo is cool. Full body MRI. Yeah. Very fascinating.
Did anything concerning or?
Nothing concerning whatsoever. Yeah.
Some people find cancer when they do that one.
Yeah. No, in the back of my mind, I was worried. I'm like, damn, like, it's scary kind of going in there. But no, they're like, oh, you got a little wear and tear on your knees and shoulders. I'm like, yeah, I do jiu-jitsu, I surf, like, of course. So yeah, it's totally fine.
Speaking of jiu-jitsu, you got an event out here next month you're going to?
So yeah, this is the most fascinating story ever that's happened in jiu-jitsu in the history of jiu-jitsu. There is an event every 2 years in Las Vegas called ADCC. This is the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu. It's backed by Saudi money, and it is just the most legendary thing in Jiu-Jitsu ever. These dudes come into Vegas from all across the world. It started out as like the UFC style. So there was like different grappling. There was like a wrestler versus jiu-jitsu guy, a judo guy versus a wrestler. Like it was just to find out who the best grappler was. Jiu-jitsu obviously kind of took that over, and it was just, it's the Olympics, bro.
Really?
So this year they go, you know what? We're so big now, we're getting the T-Mobile Arena.
Damn.
Yeah. So then what happens is this guy, Craig Jones, he's one of the best grapplers out there. He's like, you know, top 20 grapplers.
See the guy with gray hair?
No, he doesn't have gray hair.
Oh, okay.
He's out of his mind. He's an Australian dude who's just like crazy, right? He comes in and he says ADCC isn't paying its athletes enough. They only give you $10,000 if you win, nothing to show up. It's just prestige.
Wow.
So come here, you win. Oh, you'll be able to make a bunch of money if you win ADCC or do well, right? Craig Jones said, wait, why don't I hold the competition on the same weekend in Las Vegas, but I'm going to give people, if they win their bracket, $1 million.
Whoa.
So he's developed 4 brackets. He has $1 million to the winner of those brackets, and then people start dropping out of ADCC for the chance to win $1 million.
Damn.
And he has pissed off. I wouldn't be surprised if the dude goes missing. He's pissed off like big Saudi money who has just ridden with ADCC and built this thing up. And now, August 16th, there's going to be 2 competitions going on. One at T-Mobile Arena, one at Thomas Mack right down the road. They're both jiu-jitsu competitions, and the athletes have been dropping out of ADCC and going to CGI and being like, sorry, ADCC, I want to go win $1 million. So
holy crap.
It's insane.
Which one are you going to?
I'm going to go to both.
I love it. You're just a fan of the sport.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the sport for sure.
You used to compete?
I've done like local competitions and stuff, but dude, I recommend everybody get into jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Yeah, I've somehow, even though I'm horrible at jiu-jitsu, I have put so many people on to going to jiu-jitsu.
I'll check it out. We'll stop by.
Yeah, and you should start it, dude. I'm telling you.
Is it good to be tall in jiu-jitsu though?
Yeah, some tall people are really good. You know, there's triangle chokes with your legs. There's leg lock games where it helps to have long limbs. Stuff like Darce chokes helps to have long limbs. And when I tell people, there's a lot of people want to get into martial arts. If you get into Muay Thai or boxing or kickboxing, to get really good at those sports, you have to spar. You're going to get hit in the head. That's just a fact of getting good at those sports. Jiu-jitsu, you can get very good and not get hit in the head.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because our brain health is important with our jobs.
Super crucial.
Who wins in a jiu-jitsu match? You or Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, I would destroy Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, you would destroy him?
Yeah,
I've seen clips of him. He's not bad.
He's like a high-level white belt, you know?
Okay.
I'm a decent level blue belt.
Oh, so it's like karate where there's a system.
Yeah, there's a system. Yeah, I would definitely destroy
He's only a
Zuckerberg.
white belt?
Yeah, he might have gotten his blue, but might be a little suspect blue belt. But all that said, shout out to him for training. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the thing about jiu-jitsu, dude. He keeps on training. He could surpass me like that and whoop my ass.
I like his new character arc, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's blending in with everyone now.
He's like a Trump guy now.
Yeah. That was shocking when he defended Trump.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Well, I mean, he has a big business, right? And, you know, I mean, he probably pays a lot of taxes. I think he might be worried about what might come in.
Right. When Elon backed Trump, too, that was crazy.
Yeah. That one I was like, I knew that was coming.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
He's been left his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But like when he started leaving the Bay Area to move a lot of his operations to Texas.
I feel that.
Yeah.
You tried acupuncture?
I have tried acupuncture.
How was that?
I think acupuncture has validity. I think it's been used for thousands of years. I think it can totally work. I think the best modality to go after for people, there's 2. If you want to fix your injuries, there's functional range conditioning. It's called FRC. It's being used by a lot of pro sports teams now. It's difficult to describe. It's tough work, dude. It's like looking at, okay, you have your internal and external range of motion in your shoulder. How, instead of just stretching there, do we actually be able to work that like strength at those end ranges where a lot of injury occurs, stuff like that. So I had a shoulder injury one time, and I couldn't internally rotate my shoulder more than this.
Damn.
So you got to think, I'm paddling, surfing, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. What's going to happen when my body gets forced into this position? Other stuff's going to compensate, trap, all this stuff. So FRC helps me actually be able to improve that range of motion, which I now have. The other thing I think is deep tissue body work. I think that 1-2 combo, if you have some money and you want to fix your injuries, that 1-2 combo is the best.
Is that a deep massage? Or
Yeah.
is that something different?
Yeah, you need to find like a deep tissue practitioner that works with athletes.
Ooh.
So like no, it can be pretty painful.
Dude, I got one of those in Thailand and I wanted to cry.
Yeah, no, it can
Like
suck.
for real.
Yeah, it can
Like she
suck.
was like walking on my back.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's kind of brutal.
Dude.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
felt amazing after.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
I walked out of there like a new man.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about eggs because I had Embodiment Celestial on.
Yeah.
And he has this theory that they cause cancer, which that's kind of extreme. But like, are you consuming eggs?
I am consuming eggs. I'm consuming a lot of eggs. So I find it difficult to believe that eggs cause cancer as we've been consuming them as Homo sapiens forever. Okay, so that is sort of difficult for me to believe. Also, when you look at the nutrient profile of just an egg yolk, You have various B vitamins. You have choline, which is protective against cancer, and it's protective against for your brain health. Choline is a very good nutrient for your brain. There's also vitamin D in an egg yolk. It's one of the only foods that contains vitamin D, which we know is neuroprotective. So I can't really see how eggs would cause cancer.
Yeah. What about the type of egg? Does that matter?
I try to get pasture raised, but you get what you can afford.
Yeah.
Cage free is what I got back in college. They're really not that expensive. Eggs are one of the most affordable sources of good protein.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I eat eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're delicious, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with him on that one. But he was pretty adamant about it, dude. That
he's
guy had a lot of interesting takes.
Yeah, he does have a lot of
He only
interesting
eats
takes.
raw foods, I think. Raw vegetables.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. There's a book by an anthropologist called Fire, and it talks about how cooking helped us in many different ways. It actually makes protein more bioavailable. Look, a lot of the raw food guys say this. They say, oh, you're breaking down the proteins. That is what your digestive system is doing as well. So if you don't want to break down the proteins or break down the nutrients, then you're not going to eat food. That's what our stomach acid does. We have a very acidic stomach, which is good.
Right.
That helps us not get parasites, not get infection, and helps us break down foods, plant fiber, meat. So a lot of people actually have low stomach acid, and this is why some people need to take digestive enzymes. I'm a huge fan of those, but to say that we just need to eat raw food is crazy.
Yeah. What's your take on parasite cleanse? Because I get so many of those videos, and I don't know if it's fear-mongering, but do you think we actually have these harmful parasites in us?
Yeah, parasites are very interesting. So we had these functional medicine doctors on my show recently, and they are running lab tests a lot of gut tests. The GI map test is the gold standard in gut tests, and you can look at your bacteria, your parasites, all different types of stuff. What they found now, they did give a caveat that they're working with people that are coming to them oftentimes with digestive issues. 60% of their lab tests on the GI map are going to bring back some parasites.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
It's insane, and I dealt with this before. So about 8 years ago, I went to Costa Rica for a little while. Got sick in Costa Rica, just like tropical location. You're like, oh, I just got sick. No, I had a parasite.
Whoa.
Cryptosporidium, come back, do the GI map test with my functional medicine doctor, clearly see Cryptosporidium on the lab test. We treated it with herbs, take this herbal protocol that they do, and then retest, no Cryptosporidium.
Damn, what does that parasite do?
Yeah, so Cryptosporidium is just going to live in your digestive tract.
Jeez.
So yeah, these parasites are, so I think this is the thing, like you're saying, they do go viral because it is like a little scary. I don't think we need to be overly worried about a lot of this stuff. I know there's a lot of viral stuff. People are going, there's worms like living in you and stuff like that. I'm sure that can happen to some people.
Yeah.
I do think if anybody has the money, and this eventually in 20, 30 years will be a standard of healthcare where you do a GI map test is what it's called. But for right now, just nobody knows about it. It's just sort of for the elite,
How much is it?
A couple $1,000s.
Oh,
to go over it with a good functional medicine practitioner.
Okay.
And if you listen to these guys on our podcast, you don't want to do a GI map test and then throw random herbs at it. Some of these things can be powerful. Oregano oil, wormwood, stuff like that. So you don't just want to kind of throw the kitchen sink at it. You want to work with somebody who's pretty dialed in.
damn, I need to get one of those,
Yeah.
man. Sometimes I get brain fog, and I wonder if it's just a parasite.
It's amazing to see what's going on in your gut, and the fact that we can do that now and almost nobody knows about it, that's concerning.
Yeah. You also made a video on Accutane.
Yeah.
So I took that for 7 months.
Yep.
I still have liver damage.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
10 years ago.
And we look at with Accutane. I mean, so here's my big beef with Accutane. People are going in, talking to dermatologists for not that long. They're not getting any of their vitamin levels tested, not getting any of their nutrient levels tested. The dermatologist isn't having a conversation with them oftentimes about diet, sleep, nutrition,
Not at all.
hormones, nothing, right? I'm sure there's some that do, but let's be real. And then that dermatologist sits down with that person and goes, let me prescribe you a life-altering drug that can have extremely bad side effects. Take this. That's going to get rid of your acne. It's the most frustrating thing ever. We know from looking at the history of Homo sapiens and now the research on the gut-skin axis, we can fix so much acne with just diet, gut health, hormone optimization.
Yep.
To throw Accutane as the first line of defense, extremely concerning. And it'll be looked back on as just horrible.
I hope so. Did they put you on it?
No, they recommended it when I was like 18. I went to a dermatologist. This is what kicked off a lot of my interest in health. That dermatologist looked at me and said, what you eat has pretty much nothing to do with your skin health. And I went, okay, all right, well, And then 2-3 years later, I'm studying these tribes at UC Santa Cruz. I'm going, why do they all have perfect skin? What's going on? Because some of them are dirty. You're talking Amazonian tribes.
Yeah.
They have dirt on their face. They've never heard of skincare. What's going on? Why do they have good skin? And then you go down this rabbit hole and you're like, oh, wait, our skin is our body's largest organ. Modern day dermatology, a lot of them try to sort of separate it. Your skin's this thing. You need to wash it. You need to do this. No, your skin health comes from within. If I go out tonight in Las Vegas and I drink 40 drinks or something and smoke a bunch of cigarettes, you'll see it in my skin the next few days.
Oh, yeah.
Just how it is.
Yeah. Do you go out in the sunlight a lot?
I do. I get a good amount of sun. I'm not one of these people that thinks sunscreen is a complete scam. However, there are two types of sunscreen, mineral-based and chemical-based. The chemical-based ones use avobenzone, oxybenzone, and these chemical UV filters is what they're called. Sunlight hits you with chemical-based sunscreen, your body absorbs those UV rays, and it's dispersed as heat. Mineral-based sunscreen typically uses zinc oxide. It creates a barrier, and the sun reflects off. Now, chemical-based sunscreens have been banned in Hawaii and Key West, Florida, and Alaska because they damage our marine life. So this is something, if you look up what happens when you mix avobenzone, oxybenzone with chlorine, what are a lot of people doing when they spray these chemical-based sunscreens on them? What's happening at that Vegas pool right there? People are lathering themselves in avobenzone, oxybenzone, and they're getting in a chlorinated pool. Anybody right here can Google what happens when you mix those chemical-based sunscreen filters with chlorine.
Jeez.
It creates toxic byproducts, okay? It is insane to me that we just allow people to spray these things onto their body when the other option, which is still sold at Target, Walmart, mineral-based sunscreens have been proven safe and effective.
There was a whole news thing on the Vegas pools last year. They tested all the pools in the clubs. All of them were infected.
Yeah.
Some of them had fecal matter.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I just try to get in the ocean.
Yeah. Ocean is very healing, right?
Yeah,
You're big
absolutely.
on grounding.
Yeah, big on grounding. I try to get in the ocean, just get barefoot in the morning, get on grass, and then the ocean's amazing. Talk about electrolytes, but not even, you could get in the ocean and eat good fruits and vegetables, and you're probably going to have good electrolyte balance.
Oh, yeah. Any other health trends on social media that annoy you?
Veganism overall. Veganism and the switch to plant-based meats are one of the things that I think is, it's one of the biggest scams done on the people. Do you know about like the Game Changers documentary and the twin one on Netflix?
No.
Okay, so the twin one on Netflix is particularly hilarious. So, first of all, they get this group of twins and they go, we're going to give one of them a plant-based diet and we're going to give the other one a normal diet and we're going to see who's healthier. Now, this research was funded by the Stanford Plant-Based Diet Initiative. The professor there leading the study, a vegan. Where did that group get their funding from? Beyond Meat.
Wow.
Literally Beyond Meat. You have a plant-based diet initiative funded by a company who makes processed plant-based food. And then you look into some of the deeper funding on this, and you will find that it's funded by a billionaire who lives in San Francisco, who bought the biggest house in San Francisco. How does he make his money? He does two things. He funds companies like Beyond Beef and Possible Foods that make those processed plant-based foods, and he also funds movies like Game Changers and this twin Netflix study that say, hey, you need to switch from meat to the products that he funds. It's the biggest scam on the American people because people are waking up and going, I shouldn't eat processed food. The sugary cereal, no, I'm gonna eat less of that. So what are they doing now? They go, there's a lot of money in selling people processed food. Let's say that this processed food, this plant-based is better. It's insane. And what's in there? Soy protein is the main thing. If you are eating that thinking that you are doing something better for the environment, you are eating a food that's heavily processed from a monocrop farm. And guess what? That farm also kills a lot of animals, rabbits, mice, foxes, displacing bird species. So there's no cruelty-free food. So I'm going to eat my grass-fed beef that kills one cow, fills up my freezer for over a year. I'm going to go with that.
100%. They got me on the Beyond Meat marketing.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a good campaign when they launched.
But not the taste, probably. Oh, my God,
I tried
dude.
it once and gave up. It wasn't even the health reason, just tastes like
It tastes horrible. Your body knows what it craves,
Yeah.
You like steak?
I love steak, dude.
Yeah.
I get Force of Nature.
Yep.
Love that
So
brand. Grass-fed, grass-finished if possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it tastes
mean,
good.
the body knows what it craves, and there's tons of nutrients in red meat that our body relies on to, just regenerate and be strong. And almost everybody that eats red meat and works out and lives an active lifestyle knows that feeling.
Yeah.
After basketball, after weights, whatever you do, you want that steak, and that's for a good reason.
How many supplements you take in a day? I just had Brian Johnson on yesterday. He takes 150.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think what Brian Johnson is doing is interesting. I think he's providing a lot of value. I like when people will take to the extremes, right? I'm not a hater on him. I don't agree necessarily with everything he's doing. The amount of supplements I take in a day is probably around 10 to 12. It's not a lot. No, I take some magnesium. I don't take vitamin D in the summer, but that's something I take. I like to take ashwagandha in the evening. Don't take ashwagandha in the morning. So many people start taking ashwagandha in the morning. It's a problem. It lowers cortisol.
Wow.
So that's why you see people go, ashwagandha, it's marketed as like a testosterone booster. Ashwagandha is going to bring down cortisol. There's plenty of studies on this. You don't want low cortisol in the morning. People shouldn't be afraid of cortisol. It's our stress hormone, but that's not a bad thing. It's sort of good. We have a natural cortisol rhythm, goes up in the morning and should drop down throughout the day. For a lot of people, we're busy, 5, 6 p.m. We still haven't really gotten into that rest and digest. I like to pop some ashwagandha then, and it brings me into that rest and digest state.
That's good to know. Yeah, a lot of people wake up and pop those in. And
Yeah.
magnesium, do you take that in the morning or night?
Magnesium, it doesn't really matter about timing.
Okay.
People say magnesium helps their sleep, but it's probably just because magnesium helps your brain health overall. Magnesium isn't going to cause a big lowering of cortisol. It can help with the Krebs cycle, so I'm a fan of taking it midday sometimes. I'll just take it when I can.
Are you intense inside your house with the lighting and with the air filters and all that?
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. My fiance's in Vegas with me right here, and we always just joke, like, it's like nighttime. We start to make it dark in the house. We have like the amber lights, we have a circadian rhythm, dude. And like, light affects our melatonin secretion. So people, they'll be like, I can't sleep. Bro, you are staring into the sun, basically. What do you think? You're giving your body every signal that it's daytime and to fire up all these neurotransmitters that keep us protected during the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, make your room dark at night, your house dark at night. Some of those red lights can definitely simulate fire. What I tell people, man, we can't outrun our evolution. You can't outrun your biology. Whether you like it or not, and whatever you believe in, for hundreds of thousands of years as Homo sapiens, we evolved a certain way. We did certain things. We were by the fire in the evening. There was no artificial light, okay? There were certain foods that we ate. There was community and connection that we had. You can't outrun that. And we have so many people today trying to outrun various aspects of that, and it always comes back and bites them in the ass.
Absolutely. You are not a fan of vaping also.
No.
Why?
No. I mean, are you a fan of vaping?
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I think vaping is one of the biggest epidemics with these young kids. We just had some video game streamers out, and we're trying to get them healthy, and one of them brought like 2-3 vapes with them. It's horrible. I mean, obviously, there's an increase in lung cancer, and now we just have big tobacco basically repackaging this idea that just nicotine is completely healthy for you. It's a little brain boost. It's not like tobacco. That's in 10 years, we're going to know that nicotine use in large amounts, totally bad for your colon health. There's already cell culture studies showing that it can increase oral cancer.
Damn.
So we're going to see an epidemic of that. We already see an epidemic of increased colon cancer in the youth. And I think there's a multitude of factors for that, but I do think the heavy use of even Zins, which people think are the healthiest things ever.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere. And sure, if you're somebody that does it occasionally, there are some brain benefits, but dude, there's brain benefits from getting in a cold shower. There's brain benefits from doing 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. There's brain benefits from doing breathing. So probably go to those instead of nicotine, is my opinion.
Damn, that's good to know. What about xylitol? Have you looked into that one?
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of xylitol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't really have too much xylitol around the house because even if your dogs get a little bit, they can die.
Right.
But like xylitol mints and stuff like that can actually benefit your teeth health and have been shown to actually be beneficial for your gut microbiome. So is stevia, so is monk fruits. Monk fruit in small amounts. So
Stevia?
Yes, stevia.
I thought that was the fake sugar.
Stevia is not fake sugar. So stevia is a small green plant that grows in tropical regions, and the leaves are sweet. So now there is some debate around some companies buying like a bunch of those plants basically and like heavily processing them into like a really, really sweet liquid, which can be used in some products. But if you use stevia leaf extract, I'm a fan of that. There's been traditional tribes who have chewed stevia leaf extract forever. So it's very interesting.
Got it. What about like cane sugar and coconut sugar? Like, do you avoid those or?
I do avoid them. I'm not somebody who fears a few grams of cane sugar. If there's a dark chocolate bar or something with a little bit of cane sugar, I'm not very like afraid of that. I don't think it's doing some magic thing that's going to kill you. The overconsumption of cane sugar is a huge issue. Huge issue. So you have products like Liquid IV, like we talked about, where 3 of those packets, you're going to have 33 grams of cane sugar. For most people, we have almost 50% obesity. Do we really think it's a good idea to be chugging cane sugar when you're going to the gym? I mean, come on.
There's places in Vegas that are just cane sugar drinks.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
There's probably like 80 grams in there.
Yeah, most Americans consume far too much processed sugar. So if you're really dialed in and you just played basketball and you enjoy a drink with a little bit of cane sugar, I think that's fine. But overall, I am trying to avoid processed sugar.
I feel that. Brandon, where can people buy your products and learn more about you, man?
Absolutely. Santa Cruz Paleo on Amazon. You can just look up Santa Cruz Medicinals. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're doing a really fun show right now. We're getting people out to spend a few days with me. We're calling it Locked In. They're living the life. They're going to jiu-jitsu. They're running hill sprints. They're lifting weights. They're surfing.
Love it.
And it's hilarious to watch.
Can't wait to watch that one. Thanks for coming out, man. That was
Stoked.
awesome.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, thanks
Appreciate
for watching,
it.
guys, as always. See you tomorrow.